Today I wanted to talk about how I regulate my internal state. This, you know, it, Hi guys. I'm gonna be talking about how I regulate my internal state. We're all kind of doing that, whether we choose to consciously or not. But before I get into like the tools that I do, I really just want to say that for the longest time, I thought, being enlightened, being, succeeding, doing life right, feeling good, it's like that, those like higher states of consciousness was the end goal. And whenever I would fall back into an emotion or I felt sad, I felt like I was failing at life. And the more I dove into spiritual growth, the more I realized that it's not about reaching those higher states. Like, yeah, those are amazing states to be in and we all want to be happy, but they're flowy, they go away, they don't always come back. What really is, I think like the next level is acceptance in all moments. Cause one of the things that I've tried to implement into my own head is like, there's no right or wrong. It is what it is. Whether something amazing happens to me, it is what it is. Whether something horrible happens to me, it is what it is. Like the only reason that we have a right or a wrong is our filter that we call our brain, whom we have like past experiences, and we, have this like past story in our head that it's like, okay, this is what's right and wrong, and this is how life goes. And then that's what filters what we think is good and bad or right and wrong. So, with further ado, one of the things that the first thing I started when I was like, oh no, I need to feel, because me pretending that I don't feel is really hurting me. I started journaling because it's really, really beneficial to just be like, let's see what are my thoughts actually saying? If I write them down, like I can't hide from them. And I read somewhere that almost 80% of our thoughts are like cycles. They're like the same thoughts like every day. You can correct me if I'm wrong at that, but I think I read it in Becoming Supernatural by Joe Dispenza. If you haven't read that, you should, because it really helped me. Because like I love like spirituality and stuff, but I'm very science-based type of person, and I need like facts and I need like test studies and to be like, oh, it's right. But I just needed, science to catch up. So I started doing, like my godmother would call it, like taking out the trash. Basically, you get up and before you do anything else, you just write for like 2 or 3 pages, and then you let it go. You don't look at it. You don't like go back and be like, who am I? No. What I like to do is after like a year, then I'll go back to the writing and see, oh wow, like I was there, and oh, I didn't even know that. Oh, look, I can see a pattern, because like the last like 2 months, it was very similar writing, but just different scenarios. So you can kind of like unravel your own beliefs and thought patterns by doing that. Another thing that I do, and that everyone's pretty much like, we should do this now, is meditate. And like the basis of meditating is just sitting and doing nothing. So for once, you're not living in the future or the past, you're just living in the present moment. And so much of us, all of us actually, we don't live in the present. It's really hard to in society because everything is trying to take our attention off of ourselves. So that to me is really important. But I'm like you guys, I think meditating is freaking hard. And I'm just sitting there being like, I could be doing a million other things than just not doing anything, even though I'm like a professional procrastinator. So what I learned was I started diving into like breath work. There's types of breathing that you can do. And the guy that I got taught by, he was basically like, it's an active meditation. So for people that are just all the time, like most of us, it's really good because you're focusing on something, but it's giving you presence. So like there's a breathing technique that I do, and you guys are gonna learn this and be like, oh, that's so easy. I'm like, well, yeah, well, then do it 5 minutes a day. I swear to God, it makes such a difference, because like we forget that like we are just as much as our bodies as we are our minds. And sometimes I feel like nowadays, like people walk around just like using their bodies as a thing to get their mind places. And I was like, no, like it's all connected. Like our emotions are like, they are our senses and stuff, like our emotions of our body, like it's just as much as like, like, okay, for instance, how do I say this properly? Our bodies give us signs just as much as our minds do, and for the longest time, I just like didn't want to feel bad. But if we don't let ourselves feel these emotions, if we don't let ourselves meditate or breathe through it or write about it, and if we don't let ourselves feel it, what's going to happen is we are going to put these emotions somewhere, because they have to go somewhere. They're not going to just disappear, because we all have trauma. So whether or not like they'll come out in a conversation with a loved one, and you project whatever your insecurity that you haven't dealt with, you haven't healed, it'll go onto the relationship, and then the relationship will be self-destructed. Or if you don't feel it, and if you don't let it out, 20 years from now, when you're 40 years old, it's going to manifest in a disease. And that's why I think it's so freaking important for us to let ourselves feel it, whatever that is. And I don't think any of the tools are right or wrong. Like I said, every single day is different for me. One day I'll wake up and I'll be like, I just need to do like 5 minutes of yoga. And then another day I'm like, wow, the world is ending today, and I'll just be like, okay, I need to sit down and do 25 minutes of breathing, and I need to cry. And I'm not scared to cry anymore. I think so much of my life, I was like, I don't want to cry. And now I'm just like, oh, guess I'm going to go cry. And I'll just go do it. And I let it out, and I breathe, and it's that. And so much of our struggle is just our resistance to the emotions, but it takes so much strength. It's not an easy thing to feel. It takes strength to feel. What's easy is medicating. What's easy is feeling numb in this world. What's easy is like not looking at it, looking away, distracting yourself. I mean, so much of what we do is just a distraction from us at our core. So sorry, I went on around about that, but so we do the breathing, do the breathing. Sometimes I'll go on a run, because that can get you into a flow state. And if you guys don't know what flow state is, I really highly recommend you look it up. I'm not going to sit here and act as though I'm a freaking genius on what flow state is. I just know that it's like a higher state of consciousness that we get to when we're in flow with our soul, mind, body, all that shit. A lot of extreme sport people, guys, dudes, that's how they actually like ride these 50-foot waves, because they get into a flow state. But you can get into a flow state with like anything. You can get into a flow state with like a good conversation. You can get into flow state through yoga, through running, through playing. Like it's there's no right or wrong in this. And every day requires you to become present and ask yourself, what do I need today? And, so much of the time, I think people will wait until they're like, I can't breathe, I'm at wit's end, I need to do this. And then they go into like an extreme healing. And my therapist once told me, healing shouldn't be an extreme sport. Like it's just something you need to work on every single day, whether it be 5 minutes or an hour. You just have to ask yourself, ask your body, what do I need today? And it's not selfish, because, if you're walking around in life being 50% your best self, like you're only giving 50% of yourself to your loved ones. You're only giving 50% of yourself to the work that you love to do, to your dreams. Like that's not who we want to be for the world, for ourselves. And like the world is just a reflection of us. So it's like, we're just going to get that back if we're only giving out 50%. So like, I will actually take the time and be like, I've actually canceled meetings because I know I was not in a state to be able to present myself to them. And that's hard, because you don't want to let people down. You don't want to be like, I really want to see my friend today, but God, I feel miserable. But like, I just can't. And there's so many times where I've canceled on friends because I'm like, it's better this way, because in the long run, I can be a better friend to them, and therefore like feel better about myself and love myself, knowing that I set a boundary. What else do I do? I don't hold it in. If I'm with a friend and something triggers me, or I like go into like a therapy session with myself, I will say that shit out loud. I will be like, hi friend, I really like want to listen to what you're saying right now, but something just happened into my head and I need to like address this before I can be present with you. So is it okay if we talk about this real quick? And like 100% of the time, because I like have a really close like friend group, they will stop exactly what they're saying and they'll be like, what's going on? What happened? Where did your mind go? And you work through it, because we are all like interdependent. Like there is no separation. And I know you guys freaking know that from like everyone in the spiritual world being like, oh, there's no separation. But literally there's no separation. And so like if you're not present, people can sense that, you know, and you're not going to get presence back. Like you are going to get what you give, 100%. And so that's why I make a complete effort to like be present for myself, so then therefore I can attract and manifest people in my life who like genuinely want to be present and fully there for me as well. And the more I work on myself, like it's like a chain reaction. Like I see like synchronicities in my life like all over. But it's okay not to feel okay. Like we need to feel these emotions. Like I have had, there was a point in my life where I was like, everything's going right. Why do I feel like shit? And then I would feel like shit because I felt like shit. And it was like this, I'm going downhill, I'm spiraling. I don't want anyone to see this because I'm embarrassed of what I'm feeling. And, let yourself, I'm just like, let yourself feel. Because we're dealing with stuff that is so much deeper than just ourselves. Like we're all interconnected. All of this history that's happened on the world, like it's ingrained into us. Like for instance, like women, we're not just dealing with like suppression of our own life. Like we're dealing with suppression of like hundreds of years of women like not being able to speak up for themselves. And so like we're not just tackling our childhood, we're tackling hundreds of generations. So it's like also having compassion for yourself. And once again, the more compassion and empathy you have towards yourself, the more compassion and empathy you will attract into your life. Okay, I think that's it. If I think of anything else, I'll make another video. But yeah, dudes, you got this. You got this. And, you know, I kind of make these videos as like a reminder to myself that I'm like, we can do it, you know, like high five on the internet. Okay, bye. I was watching back the video and I realized that I never showed the breathing technique. So anyways, it's called a box breath, and you go in for 4, hold for 4, out for 4, and hold for 4. And you repeat that for about a couple minutes, 4 minutes. It actually like regulates your nervous system. So it's not just like, oh, this feels nice. It's like literally calming you down and stopping you from going to fight or flight mode. Because so much of our time, like when you think about being in anxiety, it's like, it's shortness of breath. But when you actually consciously are like, no, we're okay. No, yep, no, we're okay. Your body actually was like, oh, and you like kind of trick it and being like, oh, I am okay. Everything's okay. Oh, we're not, you know, we're not fighting to survive. It's okay.